we have a saying here that you earn the right to be a champion every day. And so it doesn't matter if it's July the 30th or the day that we move in next week on August the 4th or the first day of practice on October 15th. Like, it doesn't matter what day it is, our first game on November the 9th or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You earn the right to be a champion every day.
Welcome to the Jamodi Podcast, where we interview coaches and leaders to find out not just what they do, but how they do what they do. Becoming the best version of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it. Today we are joined by head men's basketball coach of Mary Hardin-Baylor, Clif Carroll. In his first season at UMHB, he led the program to a 16-4 overall record and an ASC West Division title. After 5 seasons at Sul Ross State University, he guided the Lobos to an American Southwest Conference championship and 3 ASC West Division titles. Coach Carroll is a 4-time ASC West Division Coach of the Year. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at Jamodi Podcast.
Here we go. How about now? Can you get me?
Yes, sir. What's up, Coach?
Man, just sitting here watching the Olympics on a Friday afternoon.
That's awesome. What do you like watching right now?
Man, right now, I mean, this is going to make me sound like a sexist guy, but I'm watching the beach volleyball. But that's just what was on. I was watching some men's volleyball earlier. So,
Coach, I mean, it doesn't make you sound like a creeper at all that you're sitting. No, I'll tell you, the volleyball, indoor and outdoor, to me is so entertaining. And I don't care what gender, like, they're amazing.
Oh, I've become a huge volleyball fan. I think it's a lot of fun. It's fast. It's action-packed. I didn't like it before they had the side-out rule, you know, when you had to serve to get the point. That got a little
boring. Yeah, now,
me, man, but
it's fast.
Now it's fun.
Quick scoring. Yeah.
We've got a really good team here at UMHB, so I kind of got into them last year, you know, following those guys, and so I've become a huge volleyball fan. It's been fun to watch.
Nice. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on here, talking some hoops with me.
Yeah, man, anytime. I enjoy this.
What is your favorite culture building activity?
My favorite culture building activity is just the day-to-day process of upholding our standard. You know, I'm not a big guy into, you know, trust falls and, you know, duck, goose and all that good stuff, man. To me, it's about the everyday, you know, consistency that you have every day. So, you know, we do a lot of things. We have a lot of little quirks to our program that kind of build that stuff. And, you know, there's a lot of kind of different things that we do. You know, just a small example is I don't shake any of my guys' hands, and kind of a germaphobe, whatever, you know, but it kind of became like this fun little game. Like, they always try to get me, you know, and I've got to stay on my toes, not shake their hand. And, I mean, I had a guy who, you know, 2 of my players get married earlier in the summer, and I didn't even shake their hands on their wedding day. I gave them a hug.
So wait, you're okay with the hug, but not the handshake. I love that.
Only on championship days when we win the big trophies. On championship days and weddings, it's the only time they get a hug. Other than that, don't touch me. So, but we do lots of things like that. Just try to, you know, just these little quirky things, and it kind of creates like this connection. And they're always trying to get me, and I'm trying to avoid, you know, and not be got. So I'm not like it's not like a one time, let's get together in the gym and do like this icebreaker or this, you know, whatever. It's more than that to me. It's a day-to-day process. We do it every day. We uphold it every day. You know, we have a standard that we try to live up to here at Mary Hardin-Baylor. And I've had that same thing in all the different programs that I've had. And so to me, it's the everyday, you know, how do you do things every day to uphold your culture?
And I love that. I don't think it has to be like you said, an icebreaker, or, you know, you take your guys out to a cabin and you have this ritual that they go through to become part of the team. You know, it doesn't have to be like that. But what's interesting, even about the no handshakes, but more importantly, them every day, you know, trying to get creative and find new ways. In doing that, I would imagine they're probably excited to see you. Like, they're more excited to be around and looking forward to it, rather than, you know, a program that doesn't do something like that it's just, well, show up today, it's going to be the exact same thing. I think there's some brilliance there.
Yeah, well, I haven't been accused of being a brilliance a lot, but it's just something that it was organic, and we just kind of happened into it. It's kind of a game that we've developed, and and I've been doing it from the whole time. So it was fun. I got to, for 2 separate weekends earlier in July, I actually catered 2 of my former players' weddings. So cook brisket, took my grill out there, cook brisket. So I got to spend a whole weekend with my former player who's getting married and all of his groomsmen who were teammates, and so those guys, every time that they go get me Dr. Pepper, they try to give me a handshake, so,
Yeah.
just things like that. It's something that even 7, 8, 9 years down the road, it's something that we still have, and it's a game we still play. And, that's just one example. We have a lot of things that we do around here that may seem a little quirky, and it may seem, come on, coach, but there's a method behind it. There's nothing that we do in our program that doesn't have some kind of a method behind it, even if we kind of, luck into it a little bit like we did with this thing. So, we try to keep the guys on their toes and try to do things to build a connection and something in common with those guys at every chance we get.
I'm going to lean in a little bit more. Can you give me another example of a quirky thing?
Oh, just, the way that we handle punishment is one thing. About 85% of the time, teams get punished for the team as a whole is punished for, an individual sins. The guys hate it, but they accept it, and it kind of becomes like it's they're holding each other accountable. So, I like doing that. There's just lots of things. I could go through all kinds of little, just, the way that we, the way that we break out, the way, it's not the 1, 2, 3 team, it's like, we have a purpose behind everything we do. So, so I enjoy a program. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Coach, I feel like I'm coming off as annoying because you'll say something that the part of me, because my motivation for really doing this, it's not purely selfish. Like I love for other coaches to get help and to learn things and stuff, but I'm getting to ask these questions to a guy like you and learn. And so when you say we break out different, I'm sorry, man. I want to know how. Like I want to know.
So one of our core beliefs, one of our mantras is the most generally the most aggressive team wins, right? So we talk about attacking a lot, and getting out and getting the first punch in, or however you want to phrase it. We've gone through all different kinds of iterations of this thing, but to me, it all comes down to attack, and then we also want to do it together. So when we break out, we get up there and one of our guys says together, the rest of them say we attack. And, it's been picked up by Texas Tech. They're doing it now. I'm not saying they got it from me, but that's what they're doing. I'm sure that there's other teams that do it, and I wasn't the first.
No, Coach, it came from you. It came from you.
No, I don't know about that, but everything is there's nothing unique anymore, man. Everything's stolen now, but that's just something that we believe in. We're going to go out there. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to do it together. So that's just our reminder. That's what. I know a lot of other teams like to have a different break every time and things like that. Like we don't do that. Like we have the same one every time. And it's one of our points of pride that every time that we break, it's, you're going to get a good breakout. We're not going to have weak ones, so
do you have the same guy? Do you have the same guy leading that together, or do you allow them to, in the moment, who chooses?
No, I allow them to do it, and it's great for me to kind of see who steps up at times, and it's always funny that, about 3 weeks in, we have a bad practice and everybody's kind of, got the down face, and everybody's kind of moping around. You get that freshman jump in there. Come on, guys, together, And so, it's always cool when something like that happens to have a kid step up and do it. That, it gives them a chance to kind of take a little ownership of it. So, so I'll let the team kind of organically do that. A lot of times it's going to be one of the older guys, it's going to be one of the seniors. But every once in a while, you have those young guys jump in, and that's when it gets fun.
Yeah, and there's even built into that, there's a test of, like you said, on a bad practice. Okay, it's easy. I've always thought it's easy for guys to bring spirit, to bring energy when everything's going great. You just had a great practice. You just played your best game. But if you're, like you said, if the team isn't doing well, or if it was a bad practice or after a loss, how do they how do they come back from that and how do they respond? I think that's a cool little measuring stick right there to see who you can lean on and how those guys are going to react when things aren't perfect.
Yeah, yeah, and trust me, some people think, "Oh, coach doesn't pay attention." I'll pay attention to all that stuff. Another thing, kind of the same vein, is we open and close every practice with a prayer. We're here at a Baptist university. We take our religion seriously here, our Christianity seriously here. So we open every practice and close every practice with a prayer. And I let them, do it, and I let them step up and who wants to do it. And we have a first team All-American here named Josiah Johnson, and he's probably about 65% of the prayers, which speaks a lot to him, a guy that can average 30 and has a 4.0 GPA and also prays for us, 6 out of 10 times. Pretty special kid. But we also have, kids that you wouldn't, I've had kids where the first time I've heard them speak more than 2 sentences is in a prayer. And so sometimes that's fun to watch too, and it all goes back to our program. It all goes back to our culture of, just being together and growing and connections and also being connected to our faith, and so that all goes back to what we do. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think it's a good way to have your kids grow a little bit.
I hear a lot from you about how you're empowering your players to do things and lead things and helping to create a more of a player-led team. Because I think I'm guilty of, like, I'm at a Christian private school up here at DFW, and we pray too. I don't know how many times I've led it on both ends. How many times I lead the break. How many times I probably need to take a page from your book and put them in those leadership opportunities more.
I'll tell you one dynamic I try very hard to create here is to give these guys freedom to have some ownership of the program. But at the end of the day, because we talk about this, we talk about giving them the freedom and empowering them, but at the end of the day, I'm the leader of this program. Like I'm the buck stops with me. And so it's a fine line you have to ride here, to establish that you're the boss, but you give your guys enough ownership to where they feel like they have a little piece of it. So it's funny. There's a lot of things that we have to do here to kind of do that. Every once in a while, I got to remind these guys that when it comes to UMH basketball, I'm King Clif. What I say goes. And sometimes I got to come in here and drop the hammer. But for the most part, we create this culture of excellence first. We want to be good in everything we do, and we uphold that standard. So that's the best thing I can do for my team is upholding our standard and making sure that we're performing to that every day, but allowing those guys to figure out how to get to it, and let those guys have some say in what the standard is going to be. And so, but at the end of the day, I'm the top dog here. So I don't have to tell them every day. I don't have to remind them every day. There's just those instances where you got to put your foot down and say, hey man, there's, I'm the top of the food chain here, right, and you guys are going to do what we want. But for the most part, and we got good kids, and we got guys that really want to be good and guys that kind of have it figured out. So I can just let them kind of do it, and it's great. It's a great way to be. It's a great way to be as a coach. Like I don't have to go in there and dominate every day. Like I really don't. I can sit back and let guys take it. I can let my assistants take it. I can let, and everybody knows in the gym that, if something gets out of line or there's something that I don't like, we're going to fix it, and so, I have a very strong presence in that realm. But when it comes to, all the kind of the small detail, I let them take care of most of it. And to me, it's a lot of fun to watch them and watch these guys kind of figure things out and kind of have these aha moments, not just my players, but my assistants, like, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's great, and things like that. So, so it's a great dynamic to have. It's hard. It's a fine line. I can see where, it could go awry real fast. You have some guys that don't believe in your culture and guys that kind of go awry. And, I have to be more, more of a presence there. But from what we have built right now here at Mary Hardin-Baylor, I can kind of sit back and be a part of it as opposed to be on top of it all the time.
I think that's the art of coaching, right? Is the knowing, one, having the relationships with your guys and your coaches and knowing what works with them, but that art of how far to let them go, when to pull them back. And it just seems like you have a really good handle on that.
Yeah, It's been a process, and I learned from the best. I think Coach Knight was a lot like that. I got my start coaching as a student assistant for him, and he had the reputation of being like this, real strong, domineering, and he's a very strong head coach. But you would be surprised, how much he allowed his assistants and his players to kind of run some things in the program. And at the end of the day, everything was done with his blessing. I mean, there was nothing done in our program that he didn't bless or he didn't teach or things like that. But there was a lot, and so I learned a lot of that from him and also from Steve Green. Who hopefully everybody in Texas knows who Steve Green is. He's the greatest junior college coach of all time. At South Plains College, 3 national championships and an undefeated season. He's the greatest. So I got the pleasure of working for both of those guys when I was young, and both of them had that trait. Both of them clearly were the top dogs in that program, but both of them allowed all of us to work and do things, and as long as we were working within the program. So I had some lessons from the very best at a very young age. So this is one of my strengths as a coach, I believe, and one of the things that I feel like we do really good in our program. And it's a fine line, and I sometimes don't realize how blessed I was as an early coach to figure some of those things out.
Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Biology. What's your BSA score? The Biology Skill Assessment is the only verified skills metric endorsed by the NIA and NJCAA to discover and develop the best talent for your team. This 10-minute, 100-shot test can be taken for free today on the Biology mobile app. Elevate your game. How does culture drive your performance?
Man, culture's everything. When we took over, Sol Ross, they'd had some rough years, and not just basketball and everything, and I don't think they had a winning season in 12 years when I joined, the athletic sport in any sport, not just basketball, in any sport. So, so I just kind of told myself I'm going to do it my way, and if we get let go, we get let go. But, I'm not going to, I'm going to try to make some change here. And the only thing I can do is do it in basketball. Well, that first year we found a way to win, recruited some great kids, first and foremost, and, unbelievable high achievers, but, found a way to win and host the conference tournament and kind of set the town on fire a little bit. And all of a sudden you got other student athletes going, hey, if you guys can win, we can win. And you start seeing some things. And so everybody always asks me, say, how did you win there? Nobody else figured it out. Only one other coach had a winning record overall there. How'd you figure it out? To me, it was all about the culture. It was all about, working hard. It was all about high achieving. It was all about, big time competitive, being very competitive in everything we do, competitive players, competitive practices, everything we do was competitive. And at the end of the day, just doing things right, just working hard, doing things right. And so that all goes back to our culture. So, culture to me was everything. And so we knew we had to go in there and establish it quick, and we had to uphold it. And even though people thought we were crazy, I inherited a team that won 5 games. And the year before, my team at Mary Hardin-Baylor, before we got let go there, only won 6 games. So, I'm in there saying, hey, we're going to win a championship. People outside of us said, man, y'all are crazy. But I told the guys, and they believed me, if we'll do this and we'll work to this standard every day. And we worked very hard to establish that standard that first year. I mean, I can't tell you the type of battles that we fought, just saying, hey, that's not good enough. We'll coach this way we've always done. I don't care. That's not good enough. We're going to finish this drill in X amount of time, or we're going to do this way. And if not, there's going to be consequences. And there was a lot of consequences that first year. My guys ran miles and miles of sprints, and we have these things called K-losses. And I won't tell you the origin on it because I don't want to embarrass K-loss, but we call them K-losses. It's where you got to go sit in every chair in the arena. You got to sit down and stand up. Next chair, sit down and stand up. Well, in an arena, it's got 3,000 seats. That's not easy.
No.
So we developed K-losses. So we had a lot of consequences, and people thought I was crazy. People thought I was being too hard on them. But what we were doing was establishing a standard of excellence that we're going to live up to. And after we established it, and after the guys bought into it and they figured out how to live up to it, the years after that was pretty easy because it's kind of player driven, And so coming here to Mary Hardin-Baylor, we had to do the same thing, but just establish that. When we had such high achievers here, we were able to recruit high achievers that it wasn't very hard for them to figure that out and get there and stay there, So we didn't have as many consequences here as we did, when we started the program at Sul Ross. So to me, that's how culture drives our program every day. It's our culture of work and living up to a standard and expectations of being excellent in everything we do, not just on the court, off the court. We want to have the highest team GPAs. We want to have community service. We want to have the prettiest girlfriends. I mean, it's everything we do. We want to be, we want to win in everything we do. So that's how, that's our culture. That's our expectation. And so that kind of drives everything else.
Yeah. And that culture, that it's contagious. It's contagious positively and or negatively. The more negative culture you have, that goes around. And I think it's interesting. I haven't heard it. Someone thinking of our program actually influencing the culture of other programs within our school. I really like that mentality that you took on there.
Well, guys look at, it is what it is. I probably shouldn't be a basketball coach, should be a cotton farmer. I'm a fat guy with a beard, but they say, hey, if he can win, why can't we? Like if this guy can figure it out, then anybody. It's not like I'm not very smart. It's just, it is what it is, And so I think we started, having some people really look at what we do and really, not just people in our school, but outside. I think other people in our conference, I think high school coaches really have looked at what we've done and kind of try to take some of that and try to implement what they do. It's been a lot of fun for me to see kind of the growth of our culture kind of growing out of our program and into other places. And that's been very rewarding for me. And it's been a way that I can contribute and give back to some other people that have been very good to me.
With the relationships that you've been able to build and the culture that you have. So confidence is one of those things that I'm always interested in learning how coaches build that or help develop the confidence of their players. So building confidence in your program, how do you go about that?
So to me, we have a saying here that you earn a right to be a champion every day. And so it doesn't matter if it's July the 30th or the day that we move in next week on August the 4th or the first day of practice on October 15th. Like, it doesn't matter what day it is, our first game on November the 9th or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You earn a right to be a champion every day. And so I really believe that you can develop confidence through hard work. The more you work, the more confident you're going to be in your abilities. And so, and that doesn't just pertain to basketball. It pertains to everything. Yeah. If you want to be a great TikToker, you're not just going to show up one day and turn on your phone and here we go TikToking. Like, I got some great TikTokers on my team. I don't really get it. It's what it is, but
I don't get it either.
but those guys, they really do. They put a lot of time into their TikTok, and so it's kind of funny that we say that, but those guys have earned the right to be great TikTokers and have lots of followers and become viral and all that stuff. Like, they put a lot of time into it. I wish they'd put more time to shoot free throws, but it's they do enough for basketball. They can do a little bit for TikTok.
That's
so
right.
But the same thing. Like, if you put a lot of time and effort into your academics, you're going to be a good student. You're going to be a better student than what naturally you can be. So that's just what we do, man. We earn the right to be a champion every day. And that's for me being a head coach. That's for me building relationships with players, recruiting, watching the USA basketball team trying to steal some sets and some defensive, assignments and things like that. Like, all the way down to our freshman that's coming in, just trying to find a way to get a few minutes on our JV team. You earn a right to be a champion every day. And if everybody does that, you create like this kind of joint co-confidence. Everybody has confidence together because everybody knows everybody's been working, and it's a great thing when you start getting that kind of stuff where you believe in each other because you know how hard that guy's been working and he knows how hard you've been working. So you believe in each other. That becomes a bond. That's pretty unbreakable. And that's why we have guys, 5 years down the line, they're going to call a coach, say, hey coach, can you come to my wedding and cook some briskets? By the way, my 5 groomsmen is going to be the starting 5 from our, 2022 championship team. And we're all going to have fun. That's how that all happens. These kids create this bond because they're working for each other. They're working with each other. They create all this, and it just builds this confidence in each other and in the team and in the program to where, it's unbreakable. It's a special thing. It's beautiful. It's as a coach and as a leader, you start seeing that stuff happening. That's where I really, can sit back and smile and know that we're doing things right here when you start seeing things like that.
Yeah, I think it starts with you. It starts with us as coaches. If we want what Kelvin Sampson says, like, we want guys to get in the gym. Well, if we're not gym rats, if we're not getting in the gym, if we're not opening it up for them and giving them those opportunities, how can we expect them to do it? If you're not doing things to enhance your own confidence, putting in those reps during the summer and adding new things and becoming better, how can we expect them to do it? Just like culture, it starts with us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in all of this, I don't think you're ever going to hear me say, that kid's got to do more. It's always it's a program, a culture is bigger than one, and that includes me. I tell people all the time, like, if my head got big and I got too big for Mary Hardin-Baylor and I moved on, and that would be a terrible decision, be honest with you. But if I moved on, they'd have 1,000 people lined up at the door to take my job tomorrow. Mary Hardin-Baylor is bigger than me. I can't go into this thing thinking I'm bigger than everybody else, or I don't have to do what everybody else does. Like, yeah, I lead it. I'm here. I'm on top of the food chain, but I'm not bigger than the program, and I never will be. And if I ever get that way, I need to quit coaching, because that's not what it's about. It's about us. And so, we have to stay there. We have to lead these guys by example. They have to see us working and inspire them to work, and at the same time, it's different. Like, we have to kind of be the disciplinarians of the team. We have to be, there's some times where we got to say no, or, a lot of people would say yes. We have to be that person. So it's this fine line of trying to keep, all the roles together and things like that. Being a coach is hard. It's very hard. And I can understand why people don't want to do it. People think it's glamorous and people think they want to do it. But when it comes down to it, it's not easy. And so I understand why people leave, but it's our responsibility and we have to do it. And if we'll stand up and do that, then we'll grow the confidence of the program. We'll put in the work, and then that's how you win championships.
Yeah, I love the way you said that I'm not big. You're not bigger than the program. I think if we look back to those really hard years, either it was maybe a talent thing, or we didn't get the wins that we thought we should have had, or we had some issues within our team with the culture and stuff. In those moments, if we start to think that, I think when we're thinking negatively about things, it's usually because we're thinking about us. We're thinking about how this looks about us or how it'll be perceived by others. And that mentality of it's not about me and I'm not the program and the program is bigger than me. I think that'll keep us sane and healthy.
Yeah, I'd say I got caught in that trap when I was at McMurray because of the history of McMurray and the deep respect I had for Ron Holmes and Coach Kimbrell, the people that came before that dug the well that we're drinking from. I really felt, and this was the wrong way to feel, but I was a young coach in my first head coach experience. I really felt the pressure of me having to do it, right? And I really put myself on that pedestal, and this is the way I'm going to do it, and this is the way. And 2 years later, I get fired, and so probably the best thing that ever happened to me, be honest with you, because it made me really go back and, and I was fortunate. The good Lord led me to Sul Ross. I was fortunate to get that job. I was blessed to get that job, but I also knew that I had to go back and really reevaluate because during the whole time I was at McMurray, I knew it was wrong. It's wrong. You're doing it. It's wrong. This doesn't feel right, especially if you've been a part of championship cultures before.
Yeah.
And then what you're building now. So I knew that it had to go from me to we, and it had to go from I to us. And I knew if we could do that at Sul Ross, I just felt like, we were going to have to withstand some lean times at Sul Ross, which we didn't. Luckily, the build was really quick. But I felt like if I'm out there saying I and we have a 6-win season, I'm going to get fired. So it's hard. It's hard if you're going in there and you're we, and it's hard to fire we. You can't fire everybody. But you can fire I. So So I kind of learned that lesson, and really it was a blessing to me because it's a lot more joy to me to be a part of the team is to be, the eye above the team. It's a lot more fun to be part of it. It's a
Yeah.
lot more fun to kind of, be able to come down on the level of your players where if you've got that eye, you know, mentality, you have to stay above them all the time. So it's been a blessing. It's been a lot of fun.
I think for one, thank you for sharing about your failures. I think a lot of the times we don't really want to talk about those, or we'd rather just talk about how great we are or all the success we've had. But the one that you were able to, you had that failure early on when you were younger, but you're able to learn from that and change. I mean, my first year here at Faith, I inherited a really good team, and we were able to run and gun and do some things. But the next 2 years, um, I was coaching them exactly the same. But I lost my mind of it became all about how many threes we shot, how many threes we made. Are we going to lead in Texas in scoring? It doesn't matter at all about wins and losses, and are my guys actually enjoying this and we're getting better? I lost sight of that. I fortunately wasn't fired. I probably should have been, but just like you, it's that idea of, okay, things aren't going well and it doesn't really feel right. I have to have the ability to reevaluate, pivot, and get the thing going. So I appreciate you saying that. It's a great reminder.
Yeah, no, I never run from what happened in my past. I hope that part of this because I'm unique. I'm different. I didn't get into this by being a great player. I didn't get into this because my family I come from a family of coaches. I had to get in through the back door, and so I want people to kind of look at me and maybe say, well, if a fat guy with a beard from Terry County, Texas, that should be a cotton farmer can do this, and hopefully me too. But you also want those guys to know that it hadn't been all rainbow and sunshine for me. Like we've had to fight, we've had to go through some bad times, but now we're seeing the fruits of the labor, and being blessed to be here at a great place like Mary Hardin-Baylor, who I think is the best. The best job in our division in the nation. I think that we have the best of the best, and we're going to start proving that hopefully. So so I hope that by being honest and being open and kind of telling everybody like, and trust me, the AD at McMurray would rather me say that he didn't fire me. Like he would quit telling everybody I fired you. But it happened. And it happened for a
Yeah.
reason, and
Yeah.
and it was warranted. I at the time I was really mad at him. I didn't think I should be fired, but looking back at it, I probably would have fired me too. So, but the Lord put me in a different place where I could grow and become better, and I took that opportunity and ran with it. So,
Yeah.
one thing I know, man, is if you try to plan out your next place and you try to take control of everything you're doing, everywhere you're going, you're doing it wrong, man. You gotta make where you're at the best you can be, and
Big
just gotta have
time.
faith. Yeah, and
Yeah.
just have faith in the Lord that when it's time to go, He'll take you somewhere.
That's
And
right.
you just gotta have faith. He's always put me where I need to be. So,
Yeah.
even though I fought it tooth and nail several times, so, but He's always put me in great places, and so I've kind of learned just kind of sit back and keep my faith in Him and just work as hard as I can for where we're at right now, and everything else take care of itself.
I'll tell you, that's a daily grind for me, a daily grind to trust in his plan and not try to take the reins over. I think anytime we can look in our lives and we feel like it's chaotic and we're out of control, it's probably because we're trying to have too much control. And if we keep it simple and do our, like you said, a standard of excellence, do our very, very best with the little things, man, it's a much easier way to live. But thank you for the reminder, because without even realizing it, I can wind up back in that place. And
Yeah.
then the second thing is your story, your rise to coaching, to me is inspiring. It's more inspiring than a great player getting a good job, somebody growing up within a tree and a family that they just walked into it. And because of that story that you had and the person that you are, that chip on your shoulder that I'm going to outwork people, I would imagine that's a big reason why your culture and your teams play that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a farmer. I'm not a basketball coach. I'm a farmer. My guys know that, and everybody comes through the program can see that. Like there's not a whole lot of entitlement to us. And that's something that I very consciously have brought to Mary Hardin Baylor, because we do have such a nice place and our resources are great. We can give our kids a lot, and we have a lot of advantages over schools our size. But I had to fight the culture of entitlement. Like, I had to make sure our guys know that we have to earn this stuff, like it's given to us and it's nice, but we have to earn this stuff. Like, it's not free. And so I think that's where, if you come in and you watch this, you see the farmer in me every day. Like, you see me come to work every day. You see, just kind of the get down in the dirt, put your fingers in the dirt and plant some seeds and get out there and get the weeds out of it. And, you see the farmer in me every day, hopefully.
Love
and
that.
It's something that I've really wanted to kind of keep about me as something very conscious that, I never wanted to become a basketball coach. I want to be a farmer coaching basketball. And to me, that's the best way for me to do it. It's what fits my personality. And now not everybody can do that, like, if you're a city boy from that, if you're one of them dudes, ain't never had your fingers in the dirt, it's probably going to work for you,
That's right.
So, everybody's got to find their own thing. Everybody's got to find their own way. And I appreciate you saying, talking about kind of the way I got in, the way I came up. It's been very challenging. It's been very rewarding. I've had great support from my family. I wouldn't be able to do this without my mom and dad back in those days when I was making $5,000 a year. Kind of slipped me a few bucks in here. Go get you something to eat. So I couldn't have done it without them. I couldn't have done it without my friends. And it sounds really cliche, but 20 years ago when we were all getting into this coaching deal, it was Chris Beard and Joe Golding and Brett Tanner and Chris Ogden and these guys are all like some of the elite around the Texas now. But that's I knew Chris Beard when he didn't have enough money to pay a tow truck to switch a tire,
Yeah.
So, between the support from my family and the support from my network, my friends, we've been able to get here, and it's been improbable. I'm telling you, there's not many guys like me out there. I can count like 2 or 3 guys, fat guys with beards. That's what I call us, and there's a couple. I'm not going to start naming them. That might not be cool, but there's been a couple out there, and but there's not many of us, and so. There's not many guys from Meta Texas out here coaching college basketball. So it's been fun and it's been very rewarding. But also I cherish every day. I get instead of getting up and go change the water and hoping it rains and hoping the boll weevils don't get us, I get to just hope that an 18-year-old goes to class. So to me, it's
not too bad.
A lot easier.
Huh? Not too bad.
It's a lot easier to make sure an 18-year-old goes to class and get on your knees and pray for rain.
Wow.
So
that's good perspective.
So I'm blessed every day, man. I love what I do. I've never worked a day in my life here. Once I left the farm, I've never worked a day in my life coaching. Like, this is fun to me. This is great. I love every minute of it. Even the bad times, I find something to have some joy in. I love my network. I love the relationships I've been able to build with, fellow coaches, but also players, my former players. I mentioned getting to go to those weddings, in July and spend a whole weekend, 2 separate weekends with former players. Just those are things I cherish, and that's why I do it. And it's what keeps me going. Like, I'll never retire. The only reason I quit coaching is because I can't, anymore. I love what I do. It's brings me so much joy. I feel like I'm doing, the Lord's work also. I feel like this is what He needs me doing for Him, and so it's just been. Especially this past year, there's been so much satisfaction and so much joy, and I'm having so much fun. I don't count this as working, man. So, I get to come on a podcast with big timers like you, man. So it's a lot of fun.
God, I don't know about big timers at all, but hey,
man, you wrote a book, dude. Like, only big time people write books. Come on now.
I don't know what to say to that. No, I would say this, just kind of like you, if you can do it, anybody, if I can write a book, anybody can. And, you don't have to go through like a national scandal and tragedy as a player to write a book. And I honestly, okay, I don't know if anybody's ever told you to do it before, but I would say with kind of the path that you've taken and how you've grinded to get to where you're at, I would read yours in a heartbeat. And so
I'd have to find me a good ghostwriter, man. I'm not really good on those ones and twos out here, so
you have, I mean, you have people that, you have them edit it so that it flows and sounds good and stuff, but your stories, your relationships, I'll tell you, if I would, I would buy that. So if I'm the first one to ever tell you that, like, this is a really cool moment because you'll do it. And then I can't wait to have my signed copy of it.
Well, I'll tell you, the only book anybody's ever asked me to write's been a recipe book or a cookbook. So you're the first one to tell me
You
I need
can
to put
send
my
me some
story
brisket
down.
too. That's what I'll take. I'll take your brisket and then the book later. But the Jamodi podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. We've talked a lot about your program, and so I feel like I might have an idea of what makes it different, but maybe if you can even go a little bit deeper, like what's one thing that makes your program different?
I think the expectation of excellence, and everybody's going to say, no, we expect excellence, but really you don't.
That's right.
That's the number one thing when I can go in and kind of pay attention to a program. Like when I really get locked into recruiting a kid and I go to practices every other week or whatever, and I can really start watching like programs, how they're developed, how they're done. I can flat tell a coach, man, you don't expect excellence in everything you do. Well, yeah, I do. Well, then what happened in this situation over here where you let's let that kid walk out and come back and then nothing happened? And well, I had to do that because of a reason. I get all that, man, but don't sit here and try to tell me that you expect excellence in everything you do when that happens, So I get that some people have to survive. But I'm telling you, if you're in it for the long haul and you can just create that expectation, hey, we're going to do it our very best in everything we do all the time. And you uphold that and everything in your program points to that direction, right? You don't have like 3 policies pointing this way and another policy pointing this way, and then it counteracts, and you throw your program off. Everything's got to go together. Everything's got to point the same direction. And I think that's hard. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of thought.
Yeah, it doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, I've spent countless hours just, I'm not like a real good, like write down notes and like keep them organized. And like, I'm not real good at that.
You're not Buzz Williams. You're not Buzz Williams with your stacks of notebooks. Oh my God. Yeah.
So funny thing is Buzz's son, I don't know if I can say this because his next coming in, but Buzz's son's coming to play for us next year. So awesome. I look forward to getting to know Buzz a little more,
Yeah.
But I just sat down when I was at Sul Ross and just started, okay, how do we handle this situation? How do we handle this situation? How do we handle this situation? What's this policy? What's this policy? And just make sure that there was synergy with everything, that everything pointed the same direction. And it took forever. Like it took me an entire year because there'd be something I wouldn't even think about. And so then we started changing some of the way we do things. But now I think we kind of got it to where everything points in the right direction. Or not the right direction, but the same direction.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody's programs are different. Everybody can't do things the same way. Like I can't just try to copy Bob Knight. Doesn't work.
Sure.
I have to do things Clif Carroll's way. But everything that we have and everything that we do and everything we say, terminology, everything points to the same direction to me. And it took a long time to get that going, but I think that's a big difference in what we do and what other people do. And I would encourage everybody to sit down and think about all facets of your program. And I know it's hard for high school guys because so much of your program is dictated by your school. I get that. But, you have school policies, you have basketball, but
yeah,
just whatever you can control and whatever, make sure everything's pointing in the right direction. And you may have to kind of tilt things a little bit to kind of fit into what your school does from the high school perspective. From college, we get a little more independence with that. So, but man, just make sure everything's going the same direction. That's been huge for us. There's very little question as to where we stand in situations. And so players, assistants, administrators, they can all just kind of, something comes up in men's basketball and you can almost answer that question before you even come to me. Well, I can tell you where Clif's going to be on this, because this is the way he does things. And so I think that's been huge for us, just upholding our standard, creating our standard. Everything goes the right direction. We have an answer for everything. There's not many situations that can pop up that really is going to stump us, and at the end of the day, to me, if you're always doing what's right for the players in every situation, that's one of my big things. is you sit down and just think like, okay, what's right for the player? What is the best for him in this situation? You have to take your ego out of it. You have to take, sometimes what's right for a player is to have him not be a part of your program. Well, if that happens with the first team All-American, a kid average 20 or a returning all-district guy or whatever it is, it's hard ego-wise because we're going to lose games,
Yep.
But for that kid, for your program, sometimes it's better to do that. And it's, everybody says, oh, yeah, we're okay, Cliff. Like, we don't see you kicking off whatever. I'm telling you, you have to figure that out. And it's very liberating, And if you just kind of take your ego out of it, you take all the other and say, hey, what's best for this kid right now? Like, what is best for him? And you do that 9 times out of 10, you're right. And 9 times out of 10, you're upholding your standard. 9 times out of 10, everybody's going to respect you for it, and then everybody's going to move on and be better for it. So, she asked me what's different. That's what's different, like we uphold our standard. Everything has synergy here, and we always do what's best for the kids. I get asked all the time. We have first team All-American. He's a sophomore, average 30 a game. I said, man, aren't you afraid that some Division I's going to come poach him? No, I mean, yes, but no, because
if it's what's right
for him, then we'll be okay. I mean, I recruited the kid. I signed him here. Who says I can't find somebody? Now, I may not find anybody like him again. This kid's special, but I've got confidence in what I do. Like we can kind of replace that, and through 2 or 3 things, and bring in more of a team concept on this end. We can kind of replace what he does for us. So, does that mean I want him to leave? No, I love the kid. I want him to play for 20 years. But that's not going to happen. So, but it goes back to it. Like if it's what's best for him, then I'm going to accept it and I'm going to move on. And that's what the Lord has deemed. And that's where, this is where the Lord's putting him. Then, who am I to argue with God? I ain't going to do that. So,
I think I love what you said about everything going the same direction. And I think what we don't want for our players to do is compartmentalize, but even take like this part of their life, like in the gym, they grind and they work really hard. In the classroom, they don't give a crap. You can't have the differences between what you're doing. It's how you do anything is how you do everything. But then if I'm really honest with myself, okay, the way I approach basketball, do I approach doing the dishes my wife wants the same way? No. And so I'm guilty of it too. So that standard of excellence and getting everything moving the same way, I think that is huge. And thank you for that reminder. And the question of, sit down and look at everything that we do and where's the slippage? Where is the standard for some reason different here, but it's excellence over here? I think that's a great reminder, man.
There's that, but what you have to be careful of is expecting excellence in every part of your life where you can't,
Okay.
So you have to have expectations also. So when I say we're going to line everything up, so I have another kid. Should be an All-American. He will be an All-American this year, in my opinion. And he's not a great student, and so I can't expect him to have 4.0, even though he's, so we have to temper our expectations and kind of get the best out of him. If we could get him a 3.0 or 3.2, I'm going to throw him a cupcake party and we're going to have some Dr. Peppers, and so, you don't have to expect the very best out of everybody all the time. Like you have to understand, like, what's their limitations? What's the expectation level here? But to me, it all has to go towards excellence, like a kid that really, is a bad student and is kind of used to getting 2.5s. If you can get him to achieve a little more and get a 2.7 or a 3.0, you have to, celebrate that a little bit. So
I think that's the distinction between excellence and perfection. You start going around demanding perfection from people, every one of us is going to be frustrated. I think that's the beauty of that word excellence is within that, with that meaning, it's when I say your very, very best, not perfection, but giving your best effort, like actually being able to look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I was at a 2.5, but I busted it and I'm at a 2.8 now. And I feel really good about that. Like that's a win. So yeah, we got to be careful. It's remember the Titans when he says perfection, gentlemen, is okay. As a believer, I know that I can't do that. Like I'm never going to amount to that. So like how do we expect our players? And maybe that's for those coaches out there, me probably 3 or 4 years ago, that without even realizing it, that's what I was demanding, was perfection from people. And I ended up having players that felt like they let me down, or were just constantly frustrated. So just big distinction there.
Yeah, no, that's great.
The Jamodi podcast is powered by The Laser, the most advanced basketball training system ever created. It's designed to help players develop their change of speed, pace, and direction. This state-of-the-art and award-winning technology tracks every move of your body and every bounce of the ball, while it gives you video-based instructor-led guidance through over 275 signature NBA drills, workouts, and brain exercises, scientifically proven to train the reaction time and decision-making for real in-game situations. For more information, check out handlefitness.com. Well, Coach, I think I'm ready for the speed round. And
okay.
The speed round, I can't wait. Let me pull it up real quick. The speed round, quick questions here that we're just going to get to know you even better. I already know that you're a farmer. I already know that you're a great cook, all those things, but a little bit more here. You ready?
All right, let's go.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh, ice cream flavor. Pecan pralines.
Wow. For high school, shot clock or no shot clock?
No shot clock, because nobody can run it.
Texting or talking?
Talking.
Favorite holiday?
Ooh. Tie. Christmas, 4th of July.
Love that. Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Place you most want to travel?
Man, probably right now I want to go to Tahiti.
I love that. Favorite childhood TV show?
Oh, WWE, no doubt.
Okay. 2 more.
Back then, WWF.
Yeah, I love that. 2 more. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
None.
No coffee. Now,
very little.
Energy drinks, anything like that?
No energy drinks, man. I just.
You're high on life.
I've gotten a lot healthier over the last year, drinking a gallon of water a day, man.
Nice. That's huge.
And so that's been huge for me. I've lost some weight and I feel better. So yeah.
Awesome.
I just gallon of water a day and maybe some unsweet iced tea at lunch, man.
Okay. Last question. Godfather or Star Wars?
Godfather.
Yeah. I get a lot of coaches say Godfather. I'm a Star Wars guy myself. I grew up on it and I'm not ashamed. The Force is strong with me.
Yeah. You'd be buddies with my boy Kalos.
Okay. The guy, the bleacher, the stadium guy.
Yeah. The punishment guy.
The punishment guy.
Big Star Wars guy.
Nice. Well, Coach, this was awesome, and I really do. I mean this. I think you're the real deal, and everything that you were saying, I just felt the authenticity from you, which that's inspiring. Is to feel like what this person is saying they truly believe, and so I appreciate your time.
Man, I really appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you doing this for all the coaches out there. It's been an honor to come on here and share a little bit. I just want everybody to know that we're an open book here. We're right in the middle of the state. We're accessible to everybody. My practices are open. My emails are always open. I encourage everybody to come down. If you come down and visit me, man, I'll take you over to Miller's and get you a world-class barbecue meal and, watch some practice and stuff. But we got great kids. We got a great program. After year 1, we got this thing in a great place. We're going to continue to build. And I just want everybody around the state and the country to feel like they can be a part of it, man. So come out and visit, come hang out. And as always, if you get that 7-footer, it needs a good D3 education, let me know, man.
Yes, sir. That they won't be coming from faith, but I appreciate that. Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.